Jake here for American Trucks, and today I'm taking a look at the Proven Ground 3-inch single side exit exhaust system with a polished tip, fitting 2015 to 2020 5-liter F-150s. If you're after that performance sound but don't want to pay that performance price, then this is going to be the system for you. Uncorking the Coyote V8 in the F-150 is always a fun exploit, and this system gives you some really great sound at an equally great price. This does have quite a bit of volume to it, so we're gonna give this one a 4 out of 5 on our loudness meter. It's definitely a big step up from your stock system, something your neighbors are certainly gonna notice. This is a full catback system, so it's gonna replace your factory muffler and resonator with this muffler right here. And as the clips at the beginning of the video would lead you to believe, and as the resonance of this thing would substantiate, the muffler is pretty much straight through. So you get some serious noise out of this system. Now, it's not hard to make the Coyote V8 sound good, but this system is really gonna wake things up. You get a much more aggressive exhaust note, much more muscle car or race car-esque type of sound than you do stock. You even get some burbles and barks through the exhaust too, and really it just sounds great. Now, this straight through bullet style muffler can make for some better exhaust flow as well, which can also result to an increase in power. Since you're getting more air through the system, it's gonna mean less back pressure on the engine, just open things up a little bit more. Now, how much will vary depending on what else you might have done to your truck, so your mileage may vary there. Don't expect a huge increase in power. You might feel it a bit through the seat of your pants, also you just might like throwing the throttle all the way open and enjoying the noise. Now inside, of course, all of this means that you're gonna get more sound in there too. So prepare for a louder cabin. Again, as the clips at the beginning of the video would lead you to believe, this is significantly louder inside than stock, but it's still gonna sound good, really good, as a matter of fact. Just know that you're gonna have to turn up the radio or speak up a little bit to have a conversation once you really get into the throttle especially. Now, from an aesthetic perspective, this one is a little bit more on the subtle side. It's gonna exit in the same place as your factory system, just behind the passenger side rear wheel, and it's finished off with this nice polished tip. It's a nice little accent, a little bit bigger than what you would get stock, nothing too over the top, but definitely distinguishable versus that plain stock exhaust. Now, this same system is also available with a black tip, should that be more your style. And for what you're getting here, this is a really cool exhaust, but we'll talk about that more in a second. Construction here is all 409 grade stainless mandrel bent steel, and it's a 3-inch diameter all the way through. So this is going to allow again for some solid exhaust flow, and it gives you good protection against rust and corrosion as well. Now, it's not going to protect quite as well as T304 stainless, but it also doesn't come at the price of T304 and still going to last you quite some time. The tip, however, is T304, and you know what? Every time I look at this, I'm continually impressed by what we've got here, because hopefully you're able to see these really nice welds. This is a system that really gives you more than you bargained for in a good way. It's gonna give you that great sound, it looks nice, the fit and finish on here is excellent, and not just for the price, it's just pretty darn good overall. But we have to talk about the price here, and this one is only gonna run you about $350. And that's gonna make it the least expensive aftermarket system out there for this gen of F-150. And given the sound and material quality, I think you're getting a really good product for your money here. I was actually quite impressed when I pulled this out of the box and saw all the welds and just how nice and even they are. And sometimes when you get something that's made of 409, it doesn't really look all that great when it's coming out of the box. You gotta clean it up. This just looks great right out of the box. It's actually almost a shame that you're not gonna see it once it's on the truck, but you're definitely gonna hear it. And if you like that sound and you want something that's gonna sound good and give you some decent protection for a really good price, this is gonna be your choice. Installation is gonna get a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and should take you about 2 hours to get this job completed. Now, like most exhausts, this is a pretty straightforward process. It's gonna use all your factory exhaust hanger locations, so you don't need to modify anything on the truck itself. However, one thing to be aware of with these F-150s is that depending on your cab and bed size, you may either need to use this extension pipe that's included or make a cut to the main inlet pipe right here. But that is detailed in the instruction in the box, and we're gonna talk you through it right now. So with that, why don't we go ahead and jump on out to the install bay.
Tools required for this install include an impact gun, a ratchet, an exhaust hanger remover tool, a 17mm wrench, an extension, and 10, 13, 14, 15, and 17mm sockets. What's up, guys? Today we're installing an exhaust on our F-150 First, we're gonna watch a quick little uninstall video for removing the stock exhaust, and then I'll meet you right back here for the install.
So first step here for our install, we're gonna grab our 13mm socket on the U-joint. We're gonna loosen up the flange up near our catalytic converters, and that will basically let our exhaust sit in the exhaust hanger isolator. So at that point, all we're gonna do is lubricate them, slide the whole thing back, and since we're on a lift, we'll be able to pull the whole exhaust out in one piece. Now, if you are working on the ground, you won't have as much room as I do. You might have to make a couple cuts to get this out, but it's just as simple as that. So this one is a little bit tough to get to, but it should come right out. And same thing goes with this one. The U-joint here is almost a must if you want to use the impact. If you're using a ratchet, it should clear no problem. So now our exhaust is loose at the front. We just need to lubricate these rubber hanger isolators so we can slide our exhaust back and out. For that, I'm gonna use PB Blaster here. You could use white lithium grease. As you can see, this one has had on it before. So we're just gonna give this a shot here on both sides. So now we can take our exhaust hanger removal tool and we're just gonna work that out. So now we have two more hangers supporting our exhaust, and all we're gonna do for this one right above our muffler is grease it up. For now, you can see it doesn't have that barb at the end, so we're gonna leave this in just to support our exhaust. We're gonna grease up the other one, and then we can slide this whole thing back. So this last one here, right on our tailpipe, again, we're just gonna hit it with some PB Blaster. And again, this doesn't have the barb on it either. So now we should be good to push this whole exhaust back and pull it off of our truck.
So our first step is to install our front pipe. Now we have new hardware included in the kit. We have a bolt with a flat washer that'll go through one side, and then we have another flat washer and lock washer, and a nut for the other side. So now with our hardware installed, I've got a pole jack here holding our pipe straight so we can put down equal pressure on our flange. So we'll take a 17mm socket and wrench to evenly tighten this down. Next we can install our extension pipe. So we'll get one of our clamps and slide that over the edge. Slide that into place, and then we can get our hanger clamp that's going to slide over our pipe from the backside and into this hanger. And then we can grab a 15mm socket to tighten down our clamp. And then we can grab a 14mm socket to tighten down the two nuts on our hanger clamp. Next we can install our muffler. So we'll grab another one of our clamps and then slide that on. And then we'll grab our 15mm socket to tighten down our clamp. Next we can install our over axle pipe. So we'll take another clamp and slide that on our muffler outlet. And then we'll take our pipe over the axle. We'll slide our rod into our isolator first. And then into our muffler outlet. And then we can just slide our clamp into place and tighten it down with a 15mm socket. Next we can install our tailpipe. So So to make this a little bit easier, we're gonna remove this hanger. Now there's a 10mm bolt going straight up into our frame rail, and then there's also one coming from the inside. However, ours on the inside is missing, so we're just gonna be removing this bottom one. It's a 10mm bolt, so we'll grab a 10mm socket to remove it. So now we can install our clamp onto the end of our tailpipe, and then we'll slide our hanger onto our rod. And now we can lift this up into place and tighten down our clamp. So now we can lift our tailpipe up into place. And then we'll slide our clamp into position. This might be a little bit hard to see. And then we'll grab our 15mm socket to tighten down our clamp. So now we can grab our 10mm bolt and thread that back through our hanger. And then we'll grab a 10mm socket to tighten that down. Now lastly, we can install our tip. So we'll grab a clamp, slide it over the edge, and then slide our tip into place. And now we can take our 15mm socket to tighten down our clamp. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the Proven Ground 3-inch single exhaust with polished tip side exit for your 2015 to 2020 5.0 liter F-150. Thank you for watching, and for all things F-150, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.